rushing to get Mama out the door to go see the babies. We're long overdue for a baby update, so that's what today's video is going to be.
Okay, just a minute, okay?
You can never leave early enough, can you? It never feels like it's the right
But
time.
I'm always, like, I am running late this morning because I'll miss the first hold. I'll miss holding Truly if I don't.
Leave really, really soon. NICU life is defined by ups and downs. So we've had a lot of ups and downs. The big up is that the babies they're progressing as they should be. And they're gaining weight and they're growing. And they're both off of their CPAP breathing mask that gives them pressure. And they're so loud and they cover their whole heads pretty much with straps and stuff. They're both successfully off that. That's one of the biggest things. Your daddy loves you and your mama loves you too. I know. You can hear me, can't you? It's nice to hear your daddy. You don't know my voice as well as your mommy's. But it is very nice to see you. It's very nice to see you. I know. You look like you're happy to see me. You got anything to say this morning? Not much? Well, that's okay. You don't have to say anything. There's a pretty girl. There's a pretty lady. Yeah. Such a pretty smile you have. You look so good, and you weigh 4 pounds. That's some progress. You are so cute. Hey, buddy.
Might be under there.
Hey, buddy boo. Yeah, you're wonderful. You're a wonderful boy. They have their feeding tubes are now in their noses instead of in their mouths, which is better for a lot of reasons. But it also doesn't come without issues. Yesterday, we got to have the coolest experience ever. And Bree got to hold both twins at the same time. And it was a beautiful, I would say, moving experience. And just felt like the right thing. And so I'm going to cut to that footage now. Thank you so much. You got them on you. You got them.
Right out here, okay?
Sounds good. You got them. 2 little babies on your chest. It's the best in the world, isn't it?
She's awake too a little bit.
Yeah, they're both kind of looking around saying, what's going on?
I can't believe they're both awake too. Hi.
Don't do that. You keep right in here. Stay close. Beautiful. There's those beautifuls.
Where are you going, little mister?
He's not going anywhere. He's just wiggling a little. Stay right there. There you go, big man. There you go, big man. She's like, I think, oh no, she's got her eyes cracked.
Yeah, I think she doesn't
From
feel
time
very
to
good.
time. Oh, there you are. There you are.
Hey, Julie.
Just keep that in your nose where it goes. There we are. She's like, I think I'm just gonna take a little nipper here.
I don't think she feels very good
Well,
right now.
She had her eggs in yesterday.
Oh my gosh, I have 2 babies.
I know. And I know you, you know too, but it's been hard to wrap your head around, hasn't it? Such a wonderful moment to get a hold of on you. Just imagine it won't be that many weeks you'll be laying in bed with them on you. Beautiful, beautiful babies.
Why is he doing that panting thing?
What?
That
Oh,
thing?
they just always do that. They slow down and then they speed up.
They're both doing it. Look at their hands.
There you go, big boy. There's your sweet sister. Have you missed being right next to her? There you go, lady. Sleepy girl. Your sisters at home like it when you make sounds. They listen for your sounds carefully. Boo.
Hey, Grunty boy. She's trying so hard to wake up, but she's so sleepy. Oh, she's asleep.
She's sleeping. She's just opening her eyes while she's sleeping.
Yeah, she's doing the zombie eyes.
He's awake though. He was awake when we got here.
Yeah. He pooped, I think.
Did you poop, silly? You're
You're
too
such a
poopy.
pooper. Just like a different level of breathing help. So now they're on something called high flow nose cannulas. They still get some pressure and things to help them breathe and just oxygen all the time. But actually, yeah, they're both on oxygen right now. But they're doing pretty good. Truly's having some issues with gaining weight, and he's having some issues with breathing, but we're just praying they grow out of those things and that neither of those things are actually indicative of any real problems.
They're doing great. They're doing so good.
Did you film that day they got their CPAPs off?
I don't know.
Here's oxygen. Oh, there was some there. I cannot believe I have 2 babies. I mean, it's just weird to not hold them for 4.5 weeks. When this is something you would usually do within seconds of birth.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's so interesting how some of the worst moments of your life, like the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, are followed by some of the best moments of your life. Like, this whole thing is like the worst moments of my life, but this moment right this second is basically one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Where are you going?
Oh, the skull.
I'm just reassembling all these pump parts now for Brianna to bring because she's still just pumping non-stop every 2 hours in the day, every 3 hours at night. So these are all clean and I'm putting them back together so she can use them. Yesterday was amazing, but it seems like for every upswing that we have, there's something else comes right on his heels that's troubling and bad. And that one is that one of the babies has a MRSA colonization, which is a methicillin, which is an antibiotic resistant staph. It's not an infection. It's a colonization. It's extremely common, even in the public, but it does increase their likelihood not of getting an infection, but it increases their likelihood of getting an infection with MRSA if they get an infection because it's on their bodies. Basically, you have staph bacteria. Nearly all people have some staph bacteria on their body. It just lives on you. But this is a staph bacteria that's resistant to certain antibiotics. So if they were to get that bacteria from their noses or on their skin into their urinary tract or their lungs or their bloodstream, then that infection is harder to treat. But it's not more likely they'll actually get an infection from it.
The other thing is that they have to be treated with antibiotics. So they have a colonization, which means another round of antibiotics for their little bodies.
So I don't really know what else to say except it's a roller coaster. Our babies are amazing. They're beautiful. We're loving seeing them every day. But it's just, it feels crazy. We've run into this weird thing with people leaving comments on our channel, and it's this dynamic where this is not the majority of comments, where people think that we shouldn't say how hard this experience is for us. You know, people have a right to their opinions, and I guess people have a right to their own kind of psychological dysfunctions if they don't believe that we should be able to have a hard experience. We've gotten lots of comments like this. The majority of them are not. I know the majority of y'all would be great friends, but it's the antithesis of friendship to say, you're having a hard experience, but because I once had a harder experience, say like I lost my child, you shouldn't complain about your experience because your kids are alive. These comments don't really bother me, and usually don't bother Bree, but what happens sometimes is like you're trying to read comments and respond to people, and you're in kind of a vulnerable place, and one just hits you, and it hits you wrong. So yeah, I don't even know what this is. It's just an observation that it's just kind of, it's strange to me that some people don't function primarily in compassion, but in actually judgment of even having emotions at all.
Actually, I got a bunch of these yesterday. Where how pathetic and ungrateful I am because I'm sad right now.
You're pathetic because you're sad because your babies are alive. You should just be happy.
I should just be happy.
You should only be happy. But the thing is, like what we're doing on our channel, like if, you know what, honestly, if we were just going to share one thing, we might share, this is a hard experience and we're just so thankful and happy. That's probably what we'd share. But we actually like kind of dig into how we feel. We expose ourselves on this channel, and that's what we honestly have come. We think it's a good thing. So if you want to follow along, you're gonna get the full range of our emotions. Of course, we don't share everything, but it's like this is really hard. But it's also being with those babies, and the babies' little lives, they are amazing, and we are thankful they're alive. Of course we are.
I mean, do we even have to say that?
No.
That's something you have to speak out loud. I'm glad that my children are alive.
No. So Bree is off to the hospital again?
My heart's being torn in two every second of the day. I'm either with my babies or with my big kids, and I was honestly away for 2 nights recently, and it almost killed me because it has become incredibly therapeutic for me to come home and be with my big kids. It's like that's all I want to do is come home and sit on the couch while I pump and snuggle with them, or sit in my bed and pump, because that's all I do is pump milk, and hang out with them and listen to them. And not coming home to them for 2 days was good because I was doing something worthy and good, but it's better to come home and be surrounded by my children and my husband.
So that's the update on the babies. Honestly, they're doing well. It sometimes doesn't feel like it because there's always these little bad things that just every day there's stuff happening that's not ideal, or that the hospital's worried about or concerned about or watching really closely, or they're not getting the weight that they should. Every day there's these things. So big picture though, honestly, they are progressing, albeit slowly in some respects, more slow than we'd like to see, but and then you get good news, like bad news, good news. The good news this morning is that they both gained 40 grams, which is huge. Which is a solid, great weight gain.
Because they haven't been doing that. They've had many days where they've gained nothing, or they've gained just a very tiny little bit. And so these are the conversations we've been having for weeks, is about their weight gain.
And that comes right in the heels of the news about the MRSA. But then like the day before that, like they had to replace Truly's feeding tube 3 times, and then yesterday she threw up and threw it. It was in her nose, into her stomach, and she threw it up out her mouth. The nurse who was taking care of her in all her years in the NICU said she'd never seen that happen. And Truly had this little feeding tube out of her mouth like she was a snake who just swallowed a big rat.
We're laughing, but it was actually not very fun.
I thought it was funny, but she was fine through it. That's why I thought it was funny, because she her breathing was fine through it, and she kind of was just a little confused, like what is hanging out of my mouth. But that means they have to actually stick it back in again. It's just it's
And the
another.
other bad news with the MRSA is that only yesterday, for the first time, could I hold them both. And then now I can't.
Yeah. And that was such a wonderful experience. And I was like, oh, it was just one day. So they're going to treat the MRSA, hopefully
I mean, MRSA in of itself has its own fears and scares, but since it's just a colonization and not an infection, we don't feel super worried. And we just feel the normal amount of constant worry that we always feel. But I think the biggest blow to me with the MRSA as of right now is just not being able to hold them. A bacteria on him called MRSA, which could make him very sick. It hasn't made him very sick,